Welcome back to Mind, Body, Soul Evolution. And for this video, I'd like to do another installation of Chronicles by Confessions for you. And if you're not familiar with those, basically, I've been that's the that's the title under which I've been sharing. Well, these quote unquote unusual or mystical or supernatural experiences with you guys. And yeah, I mean, I had something happen a few days ago that was highly, quote unquote, unusual by most people's standards. And also, my youngest son, Eric, who happens to be a beautiful, wonderful, shining light of a soul himself. He said, "Mom, you should do a video about this, about what happened, because that was weird." And he goes, and furthermore, he says to me, you should start telling me about when uh, normal things happen to you, because that would be news. uh, yeah. Anyhow, before I share what happened, I would like to preemptively say, however, that I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that this is how anyone should respond to a similar situation or similar circumstances. Um, I'm not suggesting or advocating that you do exactly what I did. I I'm simply sharing with you what happened. Everything happened really, really fast, and I just, I'm just sharing with you what occurred, what happened. Okay, and yeah, let's just get into it, shall we? Yeah. So a few days ago, I think it was Wednesday. I was feeling good. I was driving back from physical therapy, which I was in a great mood. I had been like in and out of moments of bliss all day long, because I had been feeling better about a lot of things. But amongst them was the fact that I was driving because of this neck injury and what I've been dealing with it subsequently. I have not been able to drive, and so I was driving, and I was. It wasn't the first time, but it was. It's recent. It's a recent thing that I started driving again, and I was driving. I was feeling good. I was cranking music. It was a beautiful day, and it was it was gorgeous. Anyway, it wasn't too hot, too cold. It was one of those. It was just beautiful, perfect. And I'm driving. And I turn into my apartment complex where I live at, and I turn onto the main drag, and I dropped down in speed because the whole, apartment complex, all throughout, the speed limit is 15 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour. And I immediately dropped down to speed or whatever, and I'm driving, and as I'm going down the road, all of a sudden this car just whips around the corner and comes barreling toward me from behind and starts, like revving their gas, vroom, 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 and and like coming up to my the back of my car, like as if they're gonna hit it, and like starts honking their horn impatiently because I'm obviously going way too slow for them. And you know, I'm at a point now where that sort of thing doesn't really get to me. I don't let it get to me. I kind of tune it out. It doesn't bother me. In fact, I just normally just feel bad. I think to myself that, you know, number one, I remind myself you never know what someone else is going through, but I feel bad in general for whatever is causing this, whatever is causing this person to act like a jackass, right? I feel for them, you know. Anyway, um, but you know, and that's what I did. I ignored it and kept going at the posted speed limit, and and this guy started doing it even more, started revving up his engine more, vroom, 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 and like acting like he was like really, you know, coming up on the back of my car, like he's gonna smash into it, threatening to, and honking again. So this time, it did. It this time it started to get to me, and um, I I hit the brakes. I mean, I didn't slam on them, but I came to a stop, and I decided to just let this guy just go around me and just, you know, vaya con Dios, you know, please. And so, um, sure enough, he whips around me, and when he pulls up to the side, he's got, you know, he rolls down his window, and he starts screaming obscenities at me. He starts calling me all these colorful adjectives, you know, you effing this, you know, you fucking bitch, and like he starts calling me you effing C, and all these colorful words, and and when he stopped hollering, I looked at him and I said, there are children of all ages, little children too, running around throughout here all the time, constantly. Okay? And that's why the speed limit is 15. And he, he looked, I mean, it's not just kids. I mean, but they are. This apartment complex has like really like park like settings all throughout, and there's little kids running around constantly, right? So anyhow, um he started, you know, he starts hollering cuss words at me again. He starts calling me names, you know, F you this, F you, you know, you don't tell me what to do, F you, I'll tell you right now. And I just turned my head away, and so he ripped off, you know, like he took off, and sped off ahead of me. And at that point, yeah, that triggered me because, yeah, I get triggered by when people behave in unsafe ways towards others or do things that, you know, like could potentially cause harm or oppress others in any way. Okay, oppress others' rights in any way. That's something that just has always, you know, triggered me to spring into action and do something about it. Yes. um, so, and this, I mean, you can even see, because if you don't know, this about me, I have actually served in the U.S. Air Force as a law enforcement officer. I trained and graduated and worked as a law enforcement officer and worked on some high profile cases, um, and this is, I mean, granted, it's been years, but that sort of, you know, it's indicative of the sort of spirit within me that's always been within me, anyway. Uh, so basically, this trigger, when he took off, and ripped ahead of me, it triggered me to, I got his make and model, and uh, I started to get the license plate, but he took off too fast. So, um, I decided to go ahead and and keep going. I was almost to my building. When I got to my parking lot for my building, I parked and I got out of the car, and I had already decided I was going to go walking down the main strip until I found his car, which I knew the make and model and color, of it. And I had gotten like the first two letters of the license plate, and so I said, I'm going to find this guy and I'm going to take pictures of his license plate and I'm going to report him, because this is not safe. So I started walking down the main strip, and sure enough, a little bit further down the road, he was parked. His car was parked on the side in front of one of the buildings, and I pulled out my phone, and I opened up my camera app and started taking pictures. When all of a sudden I hear this voice in the distance. I didn't notice that he was standing there with a woman, and I hear the woman saying, "Who is she? Is that woman taking pictures of your car?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" so so I looked over, and I saw at that moment this guy. Sure enough, his face started contorting into this like scrunched up like and face, and started getting red, uh, he started to scream. Once again, he started to yell at me, and started to come after me. Oh, you fucking bitch. Who do you think who the F do you think you are? I'm going to come and get, he starts coming after me. So I was like, oh shit, and I turn around and I start booking it back towards my building. And I ran across the street, and I'm like looking back, and I see he's running after me. He's screaming that he's gonna do this, that, the other to me, that I'm a fucking bitch, and that he's gonna he he's gonna show me when he gets to me, whatever. Like I don't remember exactly the wording, the exact wording that he was using, but he was threatening to kick my ass, and calling me names, all kinds of names still. And so now, when I got to the other side of the street and I started running onto the grass, it was about this moment that I got this download. This crystal clear download came through me. And once again, I'm gonna reiterate what I said before I started the story, that I do not condone or support or advocate or advise anyone to necessarily do what I happen to do here in this situation. I just was, I received this inner guidance, and I trusted it and followed it. But at that moment, I received this download that what I needed to do was stop and turn around and make this guy see what he was doing. And yeah. Again, that's not something I recommend, but in that moment, everything that was happening so fast, and it came through very clearly, and I trusted it. I just did it. I trusted it, and I stopped, and I turned around. I looked at this guy, and I shifted my intent. I remember I specifically in that moment looked at him, and he froze. Like when I turned around and stared at him, all of a sudden it's like he didn't know, he wasn't expecting that, and he didn't know what to do, and he froze. He just, like, he was in the middle of the street at that point, and he just like stopped and didn't know what to do himself. He was just like he wasn't expecting that either. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, at that moment I directed my intent to opening my heart and sending him all this. I just felt this like gush, this warm gush of love fill my heart space, and and I decided to willfully, like, intend to send it to him in that moment, like direct all this warm gushing, you know, feeling, loving feeling that was filling me up, and send it to him, like just send it right to him in that moment, because I really clearly felt that he needed that. um and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's in part because recently I had talked in one of my videos about, um, I was recalling that I had studied and learned about Peace Pilgrim, who she's great. She was Peace Pilgrim's awesome. Her story, and about how, this woman had gotten attacked by a man, and during the attack she was actually able to uh, open up her heart space and feel bad for him, for the fact that he was taking on this tremendous karmic debt in order to do what he was doing, which was in turn giving her an opportunity to experience this deeply traumatic, pivotal moment in her life that would change her life mission and who she was, and put her on a different path. And she could perceive all of this, and she could, in that moment, as he was beating her, feel bad for him. So I don't know if I was influenced by Peace Pilgrim's story, or the recent telling of her story, but in that moment, that's all I could think. All I could think was, like, I got filled up with this, like I said, like this warmth, warm gush of uh, seeing myself in him, as in that moment, I could see myself, and not just in him, in everything around him, and everything. And I saw myself in everything, and him in me, and everything in me in that moment. But I had to actively direct my awareness to that, and actively direct my awareness to intending to send this big, massive, warming feeling that had filled my heart space, to send it to him. Like I had to, like, visualize that whole process happening on an energetic level. I visualize. I'm explaining all of this for those of you who may not be so familiar with energetics, okay, and the dynamics of energetics, okay. So anyway, but it's all about intention, you guys. And at that moment, I set the intention to do this, to connect to my heart space, and to open it up to allowing this warm loving feeling to fill it up, by allowing myself to empathize and placing myself in his shoes, in the shoes of everything around us, and vice versa, everything in his and himself in my shoes. uh, and visualizing this, and visualizing sending that, once I was filled with this feeling, visualizing sending it to him, directing it toward him, and like a wave of love, right? And I mean, it's one thing to say it, to we in the spiritual communities, you hear people talking about these kinds of this kind of verbiage becomes really commonplace. But It's one thing to talk about it, but to actually visualize it in that moment and see yourself um, doing it, or and sending it out. It is important to actually take those steps, the visualizing and the setting of the intention. The willful setting of the intention is important. It's key for dropping in to different states of consciousness, and for accessing, uh, for the floodgates to open up, for you to become, in that moment, a channel of for these different streams, life streams and streams of energy. Um, that's what channeling means. Opening up to channeling streams of energy. Okay, so um, so in this moment, that's what I found myself doing. I guess, like opening up and willfully intending to do all this, and I sent him this love that I filled myself up with. And I'm explaining all this, but really it was just moments. It was just seconds, okay, that it took place. It took place in a moment, in a flash, and um, I saw the transformation occur right in front of me in his facial expression, and I saw. I mean, it was visible. It was clearly visible, the change as it was occurring within him. And on an energetic level, I could feel it was quite palpable to me as an empath, as a strong empath. It was, I mean, I was so strong I could cut it like cake. Okay, but I could feel his energy. I mean, literally, just transition into a different density. Okay, a different uh, sense, a different. It feels like a different thickness, a different density. Okay, and he looked at me and this man started to cry. Um, and this was a big guy. Okay, this was a big guy. All right, I forgot to mention that, because um, that was quite triggering too. The fact that when he started coming after me, hollering that he was going to kick my ass and all this other stuff, um, he was a big guy, you know. Um, and But he started crying, and I mean, what happened next? Okay, he starts crying, and he starts almost like all these things automatically start coming up for him, almost uncontrollably. He like a word vomit. Like he starts saying all these things like, I don't know what I was doing. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I was doing this. You know what? Please, I don't want to. Can I just talk to you for a minute? Can I just? I don't know what to. I know you're not going to believe me after the way I was just acting, but I don't know what happened. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I just want to talk to you. That I don't know. He was saying so much so fast, so quickly, but um, I said, I went like that. I put my hands up like this. I said, wait. I said, please, time out. Please calm down. I know. I could feel that you don't want to hurt me anymore. Just calm down, please. Just and he brought himself to a calmer place. And at that moment, I said, it's okay. We can talk. We can talk now. Okay. I can feel that you've calmed down, and you're not coming after me anymore. I'm okay. I can't explain it either right now, but I'm okay with talking to you right now. I'm okay with listening. Okay. And and he's crying. This big great this man who was just standing there crying, and he comes up to me and, oh, I just noticed it's 3:33. Wow, it's 3:30, 3:33 here for me. But anyway, I love that. I love when I see those things. But anyway, thank you, goddess. But he says to me, he starts telling me that he doesn't know why he did what he did. That he's been having a rough time. He explained to me that he has children himself, and that he lives. He like I said, he was talking kind of fast still, even though he had calmed down considerably. And he was like, "I live right there. I have children," and he tells me that he was thrown off because just recently his 16-year-old sister just had a baby, and his head was not in the right place, and that I was right. He realized that he came into the apartment complex kind of like a bat out of hell, like crazy, and he shouldn't have done that, and he doesn't know why he behaved that way toward me, and blah 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 blah, so forth and so on. And he was also saying, he also started telling me, and I am not like this, and I grew up in Israel. I grew up in Israel. I don't know exactly what that means, but at that point, like I was like, okay, I'm originally from Spain. I was born in Spain. And he just looked at me and he was like, okay, what, whatever. But he was just, I don't know. He was overcome by emotions and not understanding what was happening. And I looked at him and I said, hey, can I hug you? Is it okay? Can I offer you a hug right now? And he really started crying at that point, and he said, yes, please, I'd love one. And I walked up to him, and we hugged, and I felt him just fully just let go and sob, like cry. And I just kept saying, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And he's like, please, please don't report me. I know, I don't know why I did this. I won't do it again. I'm sorry. I won't. That wasn't right. And I said, it's okay. Just calm down, calm down. I just kept repeating that, and finally he relaxed enough, and he calmed down, and I mean we hugged for a little bit, for a little while. This sounds really weird, really odd, but anyway, then once he was calm, we once the embrace was done, I wished him, the best, and I said, hey, man, listen, whatever you're going through, just keep your chin up and stay connected to your heart above all. That's what matters, and that's what's going to help your kids learn to stay connected to their hearts. And he thanked me profusely, and I was like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And then finally, when he was satisfied, thanking me, um, he said goodbye and turned around and walked off. And I turned around and I started heading back toward my building. And that's when I noticed that my son Eric had come out, and he was standing right there, and he was like, his jaw was was dropped wide open, and he he was looking at me, and as I started walking toward him, he's like shaking his shoulders, and looking at me like, he's like, what just happened? He's like, he says, I heard screaming. I heard a man yelling, and that was shocking enough. And then I heard your voice screaming he goes, that's when I ran out of the apartment, and I followed the voices, and I came over here. But by the time I came over here, I came around the corner, and you were hugging this guy. so, so he's like, I was confused. He goes, I just decided to just wait and see what was going on, and make sure that you were okay. And I said, thank you, son. Thank you so much. And I gave him a big hug. I hugged my son, and I said, yeah, I'll explain to you. And we walked back home, and I told him the whole story, but yeah, basically, again, I'm not saying that this is the best way to handle, or the only way to handle this sort of situation, or that anyone should handle a similar situation the way I happen to handle this one. Number one, again, there's also the fact that, yes, even though it's been a while, I have had law enforcement training. I have been a police officer and worked as a police officer. I've taken down and arrested people, okay? So, and yeah, and and so I have had that training. That is part of my skill set that I can draw from. Okay, so don't go doing this. Don't go trying this at home, kiddos. Like, no, no, no. But seriously, um, um, yeah, I can't explain it um, fully, other than to say that it happened really fast, and I was just following my inner guidance. And in this particular case, it happened to be the thing to do. So, and I decided to share with you because, yeah, it did shake me up. Okay, even though I have had that law enforcement training in my past, I mean, I have also, you know, if you've seen my past videos, or you know me, or you know about my experience this lifetime, you know that I've experienced quite a bit of trauma and and abuse in my life, even as a child and as an adult, even though I've also been a law enforcement officer. Yes, law enforcement officers can be abused as well. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, uh, that being said, again, um, just touching back on that moment to to just touch back on the fact that, yes, it's all about intention, you guys. And I say that in psychic development workshops that I've taught, that I teach, um, and when I work with people in helping them, like, connect to their intuition. That is the first thing you need to learn to work with, is your intention, and setting it, and then trusting it. But the intention is the gate opener, so to speak, or what galvanizes the set of actions in motion. Okay, is setting the intention to connect to your heart and open up your heart space, and allow the love to fill you up, and then send it to someone who needs it. Try it out. Try it out with. You don't have to wait for for a situation like mine, where someone's about to kick your ass and send you want to send love to that person. No, you can just try sending it out to someone whom you're having difficult time with. Perhaps whatever, whomever you feel might need it. Um, because on an energetic level, it is very much being sent. The love is very much a real thing, a real wave of energy that is being sent out. And since it is intended for a specific person or set of people, it does reach its intended destination, and it does um, permeate their field of experience as well. So anyway, that is, I guess that's what I want to share about that story about the other day. And it was unusual, and it has had me pausing and reflecting since then about it. Um, it, it it did affect me. But anyway, I hope in sharing it has helped you see something, or understand something in a different way, or shed light for you in some way, somehow, because that is the goal of sharing these stories, right? So okay, so much love and light and peace to you guys from my heart, uh, with a capital H, as I always like to say. And till next time.